You saw the title, 99% of women like this penis the most, and your brain immediately fired off a reaction. Maybe you laughed, maybe you rolled your eyes, maybe you clicked expecting a punchline, or maybe you expected some weird sales pitch. Either way, you're here, and now we're talking. But let's get this straight from the start. This isn't about porn. It's not about performance. It's not about size, shape, or technique. It's not about making you feel insecure or superior, or whatever else men get wrapped up in when they hear a sentence like that. This is about something way more real. This is about the truth behind attraction, what actually makes a woman feel connected, safe, alive, and turned on not just in bed, but in a relationship, in conversation, in life. Because the truth. The penis that 99% of women like the most isn't actually about the penis at all. It's about what it represents. It's about the man behind it, the presence behind it, the energy behind it. Women are not turned on by friction alone. They're turned on by connection, by attention, by being seen and heard and felt. And the mistake so many people make, and I mean millions of people, is thinking that attraction is a technique, or a body type, or a checklist of how many times you made her come or how long you lasted. That's not it. That's never been it. You want to know what really works, what really makes a woman lean in, open up, and remember you forever, even years later. It's presence. I'm serious. Presence. Do you know how rare it is for a man to be fully present? To be locked into a moment with a woman without trying to perform, impress, dominate, win, just present. Just breathing with her, listening, paying attention, being curious, touching with intention. That's the energy that women respond to. And don't roll your eyes because I know what you're thinking sounds soft, sounds like therapy talk, sounds like something from a women's magazine. No. It's biology. It's neuroscience. When you are present, your nervous system regulates. Hers does too. She feels safe. She opens. She feels you, not your words, not your rehearsed moves, but you, the real, raw, human you. And guess what? That's the guy she wants. That's the guy 99% of women want. Because the penis itself, it's not the thing. The experience of the person it's attached to, that's the thing. You could be perfect on paper, textbook hot, with six-pack abs and all the moves, but if you're not present, if you're distracted, if you're disconnected from your own body, your own truth, your own emotions, none of it matters. It won't land. She'll sense it. Women are wired for this. Our nervous systems are dialed in to pick up on emotional authenticity. We know when you're faking it. We know when you're trying too hard. We know when you're showing off instead of showing up. And when you do show up, when you're grounded, honest, not performing, it changes everything. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be the best looking guy in the room. You don't have to be a master of sex. You just have to care. You have to care about how she's feeling, about what you're doing, about how you're showing up. That's it. That's the whole secret. And the crazy thing, it's not even about her. It's about you. Because when you are present, when you slow down, when you breathe and actually listen, you don't just become better with women. You become better with yourself. Your whole life changes. You become more focused, more confident, more attractive, not just sexually, but energetically. And that energy, that's what women remember. That's what they crave. That's what they talk about in group chats and therapy sessions and journal entries years later. So no, it's not about your penis. It's about your power. Not the power to dominate, the power to connect. The power to stay with someone when things get uncomfortable. The power to ask a real question and mean it. The power to show your own truth, not just the curated, flexed, filtered version. Because the strongest men are the ones who don't need to prove anything. They just are. They walk into a room and you feel them. They don't need to talk over people. They don't need to perform. They're already home in themselves, and that's magnetic. So let me say this one last time. 99% of women don't like a particular penis. They like presence. They like character. They like kindness, honesty, vulnerability, strength, and stillness. That's what turns them on. That's what keeps them coming back. That's what makes them feel safe enough to open. And when a woman feels safe emotionally, mentally, physically, that's when her entire body says yes. That's when intimacy becomes electric. That's when sex becomes sacred. That's when you become unforgettable. So if you want to be the guy she remembers, the guy she trusts, the guy she wants, the guy she can't stop thinking about, don't chase tricks. Don't obsess over size. Don't copy what you saw in a video. Get present, get honest, get inside your own life. That's the only thing that works. That's the only thing that lasts. And that's the penis she wants the most. Presence is more powerful than performance. That simple truth dismantles almost every myth we've been fed about what actually creates attraction, connection, and intimacy between people, especially in romantic or sexual relationships. We've been conditioned, especially men, to believe that performance is everything. That success in bed or in a relationship comes from how well you do things, how long you last, how skilled you are, how many techniques you've memorized, or how physically impressive you are. But none of that sticks if you're not present. Presence isn't a bonus, it's the foundation. It's the energy you bring into the room. It's your ability to actually be where you are, fully, with the person in front of you, without distraction, without ego, without needing to impress. That's what women respond to, not in theory, but in real time, in their bodies, in their nervous systems, in their instincts. When you are present, everything shifts. The way you speak slows down. You listen more deeply. You start noticing things you never noticed before. The way she moves, the tone of her voice, the small reactions she has that give you insight into how she's feeling. You become attuned. You're not in your head, rehearsing the next thing you're going to say or trying to predict how she'll respond. You're not trying to follow a script or manipulate an outcome. You're simply there, breathing, noticing, responding, not reacting. You're grounded, and that groundedness is rare because we live in a culture of constant distraction. Phones, expectations, anxiety, performance pressure. They're always pulling us out of the moment. So when someone actually shows up fully, it feels like a shock to the system. It feels different. It feels safe. Presence makes the other person feel seen, and being seen, truly seen, is what most people are starving for. You can't fake that. You can't simulate presence with words or flashy moves. A woman knows instantly when you're with her and when you're not. She feels it in the quality of your touch, in your eye contact, in the way you breathe. She feels it in whether you're trying to connect with her or trying to get something from her. Performance focuses on outcome, trying to impress, to win, to prove something. Presence focuses on experience, sharing the moment, being open, staying curious. The irony is that presence often leads to better performance because when you're present, you're more responsive, you're more attuned. You're not performing, you're engaging. When a man is present, he becomes trustworthy, not because he says all the right things, but because his attention is steady. He's not jumping between personas. He's not masking, he's not managing an image, he's just being himself, and that's what feels trustworthy. That's what creates emotional safety, and emotional safety is what allows someone to open. No amount of charm or skill can replace the felt sense of being truly with someone. And presence doesn't mean silence or stillness. It's not about being zen or aloof. It's about emotional availability. It's about being able to stay with what's happening, even if it's messy or uncertain. If she expresses a need, do you get defensive or do you stay curious? If something feels off, do you check out or do you lean in? That's presence. That's what builds real intimacy. Presence is power because it reveals who you are beneath the surface. It strips away the performance, the ego, the pressure to impress. And in that space, people can actually connect. They can relax. They can feel. When you're present, you're not trying to be someone. You are someone. And that difference is everything. Emotional safety creates lasting attraction. It is the invisible foundation underneath every meaningful connection. The quiet force that determines whether someone opens up or shuts down, whether intimacy deepens or disappears. While movies and pop culture often portray attraction as something based on looks, charm, or high-stakes drama, real attraction, lasting, deep, unforgettable attraction, is rooted in the nervous system. When someone feels emotionally safe with you, their entire body relaxes, their guard comes down, their instincts say, "You're okay here." That's the beginning of trust. That's the beginning of desire that doesn't just spark, but sustains. Emotional safety isn't about being passive or overly agreeable. It's about consistency, presence, honesty, and attunement. It's about how you respond when the other person is vulnerable. It's about how you handle conflict. It's about whether or not someone feels like they can express themselves without being judged, attacked, or dismissed. When a woman senses that you won't punish her for being emotional, messy, confused, or expressive, she can finally relax into her full self. That relaxation is powerful. It allows her to connect from a place of authenticity, not performance. That's when you get to see the real her, the version not curated for the world. That's when real intimacy becomes possible. So many people are walking around guarded because they've been shamed or silenced in the past. They've learned not to speak up, not to ask for what they need, not to be too much. Emotional safety is the antidote to that. It's the unspoken message that says you're allowed to be exactly who you are here. And that message doesn't just come through words. It comes through tone, timing, presence, facial expressions, breath. It's communicated in how you hold space when she talks, in whether you listen or try to fix, in how you touch her, and whether or not you rush. Safety lives in the little things, and the little things are never little. A lot of people think that attraction fades over time because of routine or familiarity, but often it fades because the space stops feeling emotionally safe. People start walking on eggshells, they stop telling the truth. They edit themselves to avoid conflict. They keep quiet when they're hurt. They disconnect slowly, piece by piece. But when emotional safety is prioritized, that doesn't happen. Instead, there's room to evolve, to be honest, to grow together instead of growing apart. Because safety doesn't mean avoiding discomfort. It means having the confidence that discomfort can be navigated with care and respect. For a woman to feel deeply attracted to someone, she needs to feel like her emotions won't be weaponized against her. That she won't be labeled crazy for having a bad day, that she won't be punished for expressing boundaries, that she won't be manipulated when she's vulnerable. These are non-negotiables. Emotional safety is what allows her body to respond freely. It allows desire to flow without fear. It allows trust to build without second guessing. It allows depth instead of surface level connection. And that kind of depth is what makes someone unforgettable. In the moments when attraction is most intense, there is usually a profound sense of being understood, that you see me feeling, and you can't fake that. You can't pretend to care deeply. Emotional safety is felt on a gut level. It doesn't require perfection. It requires presence, honesty, consistency, and the ability to regulate your own emotional responses. Because emotional safety also comes from self-awareness. If you can't hold space for your own emotions, you won't be able to hold space for hers. If you can't tolerate discomfort in yourself, you'll try to shut it down in her. And when someone senses that you can't handle their truth, they'll stop sharing it. The connection will stay shallow, even if the chemistry is strong. Attraction that lasts comes from being able to show up as your full self, over and over again, and having that self met with respect and care. It comes from laughing together, yes, but also crying together, being silent together, disagreeing and coming back together. That kind of attraction isn't fragile. It grows deeper with time because it's built on something solid. And when emotional safety is in place, the attraction doesn't dim after the honeymoon phase. It evolves. It becomes richer, more complex, more grounded. The bond becomes not just passionate but unbreakable. Authenticity is the ultimate non. It's not a buzzword, not a trend, not a branding strategy. It's a human need. We crave realness more than we crave perfection, even if we don't always realize it. In a world where people are constantly filtering, editing, curating, and performing their lives, true authenticity feels like a breath of fresh air. It cuts through noise. It stands out because it's rare. When someone is fully themselves without trying to impress, without trying to be someone else, it's magnetic. Not because they're flawless, but because they're asterisk, present asterisk. Comfortable in their own skin, clear about who they are and what they're about. That kind of grounded energy is incredibly attractive. People pick up on authenticity instinctively. It's in your voice. It's in the way you hold eye contact. It's in the words you choose and how you say them. It's in how you respond under pressure. When you're authentic, you're not trying to control how others see you. You're simply expressing what's true for you. That level of self-trust is powerful. It makes other people trust you, not just intellectually, but emotionally. And when trust is there, attraction becomes something more than fleeting chemistry. It becomes a deep sense of resonance. It feels like recognition, like finally being seen without having to perform. Authenticity doesn't mean oversharing or telling your whole life story to everyone. It means you're congruent, that your inner world matches your outer expression. That who you are in private is aligned with who you are in public. People can feel when something's off, when you're pretending, when you're saying what you think they want to hear, when you're performing confidence instead of actually feeling it. And no matter how charming, attractive, or articulate you are, that dissonance will quietly erode connection. On the other hand, when you're real, when you speak from your center, even if your voice shakes, it builds intimacy. It says, "This is me, not a mask." Being authentic requires courage. It's not easy to drop the roles we've learned to play. We've been trained to perform in almost every area of life. To look successful, sound intelligent, act confident, seem desirable. But underneath all that performance is the real you, the version that's complex, flawed, passionate, insecure, proud, scared, and alive. And that version is the one people fall in love with, because authenticity isn't smooth or scripted. It's raw, it's honest, it's the willingness to be seen without guarantees, and that vulnerability is where connection lives. You can't have real intimacy without it. The most memorable people are rarely the ones who say all the right things. They're the ones who make you feel something, and what makes you feel something is their realness, their passion, their presence, their willingness to be imperfect. When someone tells the truth about what they want, about how they feel, about what scares them or lights them up, it creates a ripple. It gives you permission to be honest too. That shared space of truth is electric. That's where attraction becomes something alive, something that deepens instead of disappearing once the novelty fades. Authenticity also means knowing what you stand for and not bending yourself into someone else's mold just to be liked. There is nothing more attractive than someone who knows their values and honors them, who doesn't shrink or overextend just to get approval. That self-respect is magnetic. It creates clarity. You're not playing games. You're not trying to manipulate an outcome. You're showing up as yourself and letting that be enough. That kind of integrity doesn't just attract the right people. It repels the wrong ones, and that's just as important. Because when you abandon yourself in order to be chosen, you end up feeling empty even when you get what you thought you wanted. Being authentic means staying rooted when things get uncertain. It means not folding under pressure. It means choosing honesty over harmony when it counts. It means asking for what you want, even if it feels risky. It means owning your mistakes, celebrating your wins, and staying curious about what's true for you instead of following the crowd. That depth of character is what people feel, even if they can't name it. It's what makes someone stand out, not just in a room, but in your memory, and that memory isn't built on perfect moments. It's built on real ones. Moments where the mask came off. Moments where there was no performance. Just presence, just truth, just connection.